Hello everybody, it's me, Xander, and we're coming back today with another video for Spooky Month. We're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. Now, most people, when you ask them their favorite horror movies, or just movies in general, they'll be like, I like all different kinds. I like, superhero stuff. I like some horror movies. But they can never give you, well, most people at least, can't give you like a straight answer. A straight answer meaning like, oh, this is my favorite movie of all time. This is my second favorite movie of all time. And to be honest, it's a little hard for me too, because when there's so many movies out there, and you can choose from anything, it's difficult. So we've decided just to limit it down to horror movies today, and because it is October, and it is Spooky Month, what better time to do this list than right now? Speaking of Spooky Month, when I say that, I am talking about the event that is going on right now on our channel. All month long, we're posting spooky clips and frightening flicks, and this right here is just one of them. So if you'd like to see more, there'll be an icon or go down in the description somewhere. And we have a whole array of spooky videos, including this Friday, we're doing a little ZRice Halloween special. It's just going to be a fun horror Halloween spooky event coming right here on our channel, so you don't want to miss that. But anyways, let's go into our top 10 horror movies. Wasting no time, number 10, we have, okay, so as I said before, it was a little hard making this list because there's just so many horror movies I've loved, so many horror movies that I've seen. I just literally watched one like 20 minutes ago called Jigoku, which is a film from 1960, Japanese horror film that was absolutely insane about hell and death and all this sorts of stuff. But number 10 is Dawn of the Dead. I was actually really surprised when I came over this at a swap meet because for you movie collectors out there know, finding a copy of Dawn of the Dead is quite difficult out there in the world because it's just, they just don't make them, or they stopped making them, or they're just hard. And when you do find them, they're usually expensive. So I think I ended up paying like, what, $10, $15, maybe $20 for this. And that is sort of expensive for, a swap meet, but a pretty good deal when you're finding Dawn of the Dead. Anyways, this is why I love this movie. George Romero, I think, has cemented himself as one of the all-time horror directors out there. And everybody is probably going to put Night of the Living Dead on their list. And while I love Night of the Living Dead, and I love that ending specifically, I won't spoil anything in this video for anybody out there. The reason I love Dawn of the Dead is because I think it is the perfect sequel because it's 10 times more entertaining, 10 times more violent, and 10 times more wild. People are losing their minds in this movie. It's like everything is broken loose. The zombies are just eating everybody, and there's biker gangs, and there's murder, and there's the amazing effects of Tom Savini, and bluish looking zombies. And it's just great. It's in color, and George Romero, he really outdid himself with this one. And I have seen Day of the Dead, which they're making into that weird-looking horror TV show. They say it's an homage to George Romero, but it really looks nothing like his stuff, like at all. Have you seen The Amusement Park? By golly, that one's surreal. Anyways, we're going off topic again. Dawn of the Dead, though, I think is a true classic, coming at number 10 on my list, and there are many movies that I wish I could have put in this list. Oh god, I'm gonna get some hate, but okay. Number 9, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one from 1974, directed by Tobe Hooper, Gunnar Hansen as, well, Mr. Leatherface here. This was one of the first movies I ever got. My mom actually got this for me. Yes, thank you, Mother. When I was about, what was I, probably in 6th grade, 5th or 6th grade, I got this one because I loved it. I think I had seen Texas Chainsaw before I even saw Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street. And, yeah. I got started off with the classics, the horror classics when I was young. I didn't watch any of the Conjuring movies or the Insidious movies or the Saw movies even. My mom was like, alright, you're going to be watching Texas Chainsaw, you're going to be watching Halloween, you're going to be watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and the more classic films, you know, the more contemporary films. And this was one of them, and it's just always stuck with me from that beginning opening scrawl all the way to the very end, which is probably the best ending scene ever in horror. Was, you know, no spoilers, but you know what happens in the road with Mr. Leatherface doing his thing. Texas Chainsaw is so real and so gruesome, and my God, look what Rex Reed said on the back here. The most horrifying motion picture I've ever seen. And now, if there's one person you could trust, it's Rex Reed. I don't know who that is, but number 8 is The Thing. I don't have a DVD for it, so we're just gonna put the poster up somewhere. The Thing is a great film from Mr. John Carpenter. It's a remake of The Thing from Another World back in the, what was that made? Back in the 50s or the 60s? Gosh, I can't remember. It's like a remake slash reboot because they kind of are different from each other. And gosh, The Thing, I haven't seen it in a long time, but you know, the one thing that really sticks out is the setting, the desolate setting. It's in the middle of absolutely nowhere, just ice and snow all around. Everybody feels so trapped and enclosed into this space. You don't really know who is the monster, or when the monster is going to strike, or who is it going to strike, or people don't even know how to kill this monster, or what the monster even is. So there's so many unanswered questions, and that just makes it all the more terrifying. And of course, Kurt Russell, who collaborates with John Carpenter often, is also in this as well. And a lot of great performances from Keith David, who is also a frequent John Carpenter collaborator. I say frequent, but I only remember him in They Live. Anyways, another great movie that could easily be in a top 10s for anybody's list. But yes, The Thing, along with the score and the amazing special effects. Oh my God! Listening to them talk about it on Eli Roth's History of Horror, everybody is blown away by the special effects, and how can you not be? I mean, they're literally out of this world. Like, you don't see special effects like that too often these days. Actually, probably at all. I heard Malignant is pretty crazy. The new movie from James Wan, but I have not gone to see it yet. I know it's out of theaters and all that, or at least where I'm at. So I gotta stream it, I guess. But anyways, yeah, Texas Chainsaw. The Thing came at number 8. Number 7, we have Evil Dead 2. Not the first one, not Army of Darkness, but Evil Dead 2. Again, another sequel that's on my list, because Sam Raimi has also cemented himself, I think, as one of the great horror directors. You know, the first Evil Dead was just kind of made by Sam Raimi and his friends. They got all this money from investors, and it was a very, very low-budget film. And when it made its money back and more in the U.S., it started a whole legacy of Evil Dead films, and you probably know all of this. Sadly enough, as big of an Evil Dead fan as I am, I have not seen. So sorry, I've not seen Ash vs. Evil Dead. I have it. You want to see? You want to see this? You really want to see what I have here? All right. This is what I have. I have this awesome box set here, and it came with a little Ash bobblehead. And I didn't get this too long ago, so it's just been sitting there waiting for me to watch it. And it's not even open yet. So I'm so sorry, but I still need to watch Ash vs. Evil Dead. But I love the first 3 films, and I've seen them multiple times. I actually just went to the Grindhouse releasing and Fathom Events special event, the Evil Dead 40th anniversary. And it was amazing to see it on the big screen. And I actually won a contest from Grindhouse Releasing. And they sent me this cool shirt here. Yeah, very happy about that. So thank you, Grindhouse. I'm looking forward to more of your screenings out there, because that was a great event. Anyway, so yeah, Evil Dead 2. It's Evil Dead 2. You know, to those who haven't seen it, you should probably stop watching this video right now and go watch it. I know that's cliche to say, but it's hard to describe this movie because it's there's just a lot of monsters, and Roger Ebert on the back loved it, and you know, he's very picky with what he likes. So Evil Dead 2. And next up is number 6, Hausu. One of Bill Hader's favorite movies. Oh gosh. House is also, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm just saying, it's crazy. It's wild. But because they are. A lot of horror movies today that come out, I think they're missing that wild factor. And it's something that you see in a lot of the horror films of the past, a lot of Japanese horror films, where they're just, you know, they're made different. They're built different. You know what I'm saying? So, the horror movies today, like The Conjuring and It, even, the new It, not the Tim Curry one, they have a certain formula. You know, the music gets quiet, it pulls you in. Jump scare. If you've seen, like, a couple of those movies, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen in those Annabelle movies, and The Conjuring, and The Nun, and all the Blumhouse movies and stuff like that. And so, that's why I really love the films of the past. And everything on my list here is over 40 years old. So, that House is also another one. I believe it's from 1977. Yeah, the same year Star Wars came out, actually. Nobuhiko Obayashi, rest in peace, made this classic film. And by classic, I mean different in every single way. The only other director that I could think of that has like this crazy visual style, this manic, like, oh my god, so many things are happening at the same time, is probably Alejandro Jodorowsky. His movies are also very amazing to look at, you know? And this one, while the effects may seem a little rough around the edges, that doesn't matter. I don't care how bad your effects look, as long as, you know, they are integral to telling the story. That's what really matters. And House does have a really good story. It's about a couple of schoolgirls who go out and they decide to go on a little sleepover at their friend's aunt's house. But this friend's aunt's house is a little haunted. Something's not right there. I mean, things start to happen. And that is House. Boom. Should I go higher or lower on my list? I don't really know. But anyways, we're moving on to number 5, which is The Exorcist. Now, if you would have talked to my sister, she would have said that The Exorcist is number 1 on her list. She loves this movie. She's only seen it once with subtitles on, practically completely silent, so she couldn't hear any of the sounds, but she still thought it was great. And for some reason, people these days don't think this movie is pretty scary. I mean, I saw somebody walk out of Halloween Kills the other night, and they said that movie wasn't scary. I'm like, well, it's a slasher movie, you know? Like, sure, I don't know. People just aren't scared of things anymore. People are scared of jump scares, and this is more psychological. And that's why I think it freaked a lot of people out back in the day. Because this movie really got in your head. There are images in here that'll stick with you forever, even after just one viewing. I had the great opportunity to meet Linda Blair in person, took a picture with her. She's a very nice person. She has like this whole foundation where she cares for dogs and stuff like that, so that's great. We love dogs on this channel. So The Exorcist, William Friedkin, and I know there's a lot of sequels to them and spin-offs and stuff like that. I've seen none of them. I've only seen the original. Let me know if you think the sequels are worth watching. I've heard one of them is good. Was it the third one? I can't remember. Or is it the second one? I don't know. I've heard good things from one of them. Anyways, The Exorcist coming in at number 5. What is number 4? Now, you might think that this is not a horror movie. It's more of a musical. But I don't care. It was inspired from the old horror movies of the 50s and the 60s. It's Rocky Horror Picture Show. Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, Barry Bostwick, Richard O'Brien. You can't forget Richard O'Brien, the man who started it all. And surprisingly, like, practically the entire cast is still alive. Meatloaf, he has a great solo number in there. But the Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's just, it's like everything that I love about the movies in general into one movie. It's funny, it's spooky, it's hilarious. I said funny, but it's hilarious. It's There's music in it. It's a musical. There's bits of fantasy in it. There's bits of action. There's bits of sci-fi, and of course, there's bits of horror. I mean, the whole opening scene, the whole opening, song is an homage to the old classic monster films of the past, science fiction double feature. You know what I'm saying? But Rocky Horror Picture Show, it will change your perspective on a couple things when you first watch it. I know it did for me, and that's why it's so high on my list. It is a 10 out of 10 perfect movie. And, who could forget Tim Curry? Okay, number 3, we have another 10 out of 10 perfect movie. These are like the perfect, ooh, so good. The Shining. I know this movie is going to make practically everybody's top 10 list. So here it is. The Shining. Stanley Kubrick. Classic film from 1980. Shelley Duvall. Jack Nicholson. There's a creepy hotel, and Jack Nicholson and his family decide to stay for the winter, or the summer, or the winter, yeah, I mean, it's snowing. But they get snowed in, and stuff happens, and he slowly loses his mind, and, I mean, am I really spoiling this movie? I'm pretty sure everyone's seen this, right? And if you haven't, then, oh my god. Oh my god! Anyways, The Shining. I feel like everyone has talked about this movie and analyzed it, sometimes over-analyzed it. Have you seen that documentary, Room 237? Jesus Christ. Some of those I was like, okay, that's a good theory. And some others I was like, okay, I think Stanley Kubrick was making a movie here, I doubt anybody puts that much, behind, this. Directors can be passionate about their films, and they can put details that you might not notice in them. But Room 237, I think, goes off the deep end a little bit, if you know what I'm saying, if you've seen that movie. Number 2, Eraserhead. Now, this one is... It's hard to put into a genre. It really is, because Eraserhead is just so different from any other movie ever made. It was actually Stanley Kubrick's favorite movie at the time. And that's just got to be a big compliment to David Lynch to hear that. Stanley Kubrick, you've made one of his favorite movies. And I think I have... Oh, yes. I have this big old Eraserhead box set as well. And this one was pretty awesome. This one comes with also the short films of David Lynch. David Lynch being one of the greatest directors. Now, not all of what he makes is horror. There's elements of everything. That's why I had trouble putting Eraserhead into the horror category, because when you watch it, you might be like a little wary or a little spooked out with what you're seeing, but it's not like a straight up horror movie. There's no blood and hacking people up, or people screaming and heads getting chopped off and the things that you think of when you think of horror. No, this one, I wouldn't even say it's calmer than the normal horror film, because this movie gets also insane and also intense, and it's just really interesting to think about. And of course, who could forget about the baby? Who could forget about a lot of these things? And I don't know, Eraserhead, David Lynch, one of my favorite directors still. He actually might be my favorite director. There was a time where Spielberg was my favorite director. There was a time where I went through my Quentin Tarantino phase where he was my favorite director. Now I love David Lynch. There was a time where I loved Stanley Kubrick. But there will never be a time where I don't love these guys. It's just, people change with the movies that they watch over time. And, I saw Quentin Tarantino be inspired by a lot of the previous movies of history, and he kind of puts that history into his movies, and then I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I didn't know that when I was watching his movies, you know what I'm saying? You're just kind of watching his movies, and you're like, oh, wow, these shots are awesome. I'm like, well, he did grab a lot of inspiration, and once I started to watch those past movies, like Lady Snowblood, when, looking back at Kill Bill, I'm like, oh, okay, Lady Snowblood is fantastic, and so is Kill Bill, so I've just had more appreciation for all these other different types of cinema, and that brings me to my number 1 slot. Sorry, this is about horror movies. I know a lot of you are probably gonna be like, oh, what's his number 1? Oh, wait, I think I know what it is. Especially if you're a subscriber of the channel. It's Halloween. I just did a video where I was ranking all of my Halloween favorites from least to best, including Halloween Kills, which I really liked. Let me know if you think I should do a video, because I've been hearing a lot about this. A lot of people are not liking Halloween Kills. I don't know what is wrong with Halloween Kills. I mean, sure, there's a couple of, minor things that you could switch here. Maybe some characters should have gotten less screen time, and some of them should have gotten a little bit more screen time. And just certain lines maybe that you could switch or tune up. But it's a horror movie. Every horror movie, in fact, every movie in the world has something that you could probably switch or change to make a little bit better. And it all comes down to your opinion on what kind of movies that you like. And if you didn't like Halloween Kills, I'm guessing you don't really like Michael Myers in general, because that movie was all about the essence of evil, the essence of pure evil. Dr. Loomis and everything that he stood for, and the legacy of Laurie Strode, everything Halloween was crammed into that movie for all of the Halloween goodness and for the fans to enjoy and love. And I'm just a little confused why people are hating on it. Maybe because they're like, oh, it's not a good movie. There's dumb lines in it. And the kills, you couldn't see some of them, because some of them, they would just cut away. I don't know what to say anymore. That's why I'm wondering, like, if I should make a video on my thoughts, why people are hating on Halloween Kills, because I've heard many things from many people, in person, friends and family, who do not like Halloween Kills. And I don't know, I don't really understand. But I think everyone could understand why this movie is the classic. This movie is the icon, the original, and it's gonna surpass every other Halloween movie that ever comes out. There could be a sequel in Halloween Reborn in 20 years from now that might be really good, but it'll still never pass the original, because it's the original. It's simple, it's in its form, and that's really all you need. It's a simple Halloween movie, and this movie is, the essence of horror movies. It's where I found my love for horror movies. The first horror movie I ever saw was Paranormal Activity 2. Years later, about in the 5th grade, I saw Halloween, and that really was like, okay, I'm starting to love this genre more and more. And of course, when I got older and older, I started watching more and more movies, and my love has gotten more and more crazy. And I try to watch a horror movie every week now, and they used to be every day. Back in quarantine, I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I would just watch movies all the time, and that was great. Quarantine did have its highlights, but it also had many downfalls as well. Anyways, we're not trying to get into real life here. We're trying to get into horror movies. Anyways, what did you think of my top 10 list? What is your top 10 list? I would really like to hear it. You guys were so nice on my ranking Halloween movies. You guys are all putting your top 10 lists on down there. And I've never had that much engagement from any video I have ever made, ever. You guys are really awesome. And my channel is growing thanks to you guys. This is my top 10. We'll do a little bit of a recap right now. Number 10, Dawn of the Dead. Number 9, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Number 8, The Thing. Number 7, Evil Dead 2. Number 6, Houseu. Number 5, The Exorcist. Number 4, The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Number 3, The Shining. Number 2, Eraserhead. And number 1, Halloween. Good night. Thank you, everybody. Or good morning, or good day. It's only 12 in the afternoon. Anyways, Spooky month, we have so many more videos that you guys could watch, horror and Halloween related. Please watch some of them. It really helps me out. Okay, subscribe if you want. Thank you. Love you.